Midnight, a silent shroud fell upon the land. Where once bright lights had painted the night sky, now only darkness remained. The city of Harmony Springs, a bustling hub of life and laughter just moments ago, was gone, vanished, erased. The surrounding towns slept on, oblivious. Farmers tended their fields as dawn broke, the rising sun painting the landscape with hues of normalcy. No one recalled the city that once stood proud on the horizon. No trace, no memory, no echo. Only an emptiness where something somehow should have been. The silence was deafening, the void an open wound on the fabric of reality, and somewhere within that silence, within that void, a mystery began to unfold. Sarah woke with a gasp. Darkness surrounded her, thick and suffocating, the familiar scent of her apartment, the comforting hum of the city outside, all gone, replaced by an unsettling stillness that pressed in on her, stealing her breath. She stumbled out of bed, heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. "Hello!" she called out, her voice trembling in the darkness. The only answer was a hollow echo, a mocking reminder of the emptiness that now defined her world. She was alone, or so she thought, for faint whispers danced on the edge of her awareness, whispers of other lost souls, trapped in this impossible void, whispers that spoke of a city that was, and now, inexplicably, was not. Days turned into nights, marked only by the rising and setting of the sun. The world outside her window remained a featureless expanse, devoid of any sign of civilization. Hunger gnawed at her, thirst a constant torment, yet it was the solitude that truly terrified her. She clung to the whispers, the only proof that she wasn't alone in this nightmare. They spoke of families torn apart, of lives extinguished in the blink of an eye. Their fear fueled her own, but it also sparked a desperate hope. If others were out there, then maybe, just maybe, escape was possible. She held on to the photograph, clutched tightly in her hand, a picture of her and her friends, their smiles frozen in time, a time before the vanishing, a time she desperately hoped to reclaim. Detective Miller stared at the map spread across his desk, a furrow etched deep in his brow. The room was dimly lit, the only light coming from a flickering desk lamp that cast eerie shadows on the walls. He had been at this for hours, trying to make sense of the baffling pattern that had emerged. Reports of missing persons were piling up, all linked to a single inexplicable detail. The last known location of each missing person fell within a perfectly circular area on the map. Each report told a similar story. A person vanished without a trace, leaving behind bewildered friends and family. But the area itself remained frustratingly blank. No clues, no hints, just an empty void that seemed to mock his every effort. No roads, no towns, no landmarks. It was as if this part of the world had been wiped clean, erased from existence. Just an empty circle, as if someone had taken an eraser to existence itself. It made no sense. It defied logic. How could an entire area be so meticulously removed from all records? And yet the evidence was right there, staring him in the face. The more he looked, the more the circle seemed to taunt him, daring him to uncover its secrets. He traced the outline of the circle with his finger, a chill crawling down his spine. It was as if the map itself was alive, whispering dark secrets that only he could hear. It was like staring into the abyss, an abyss that seemed to be staring back. The darkness within the circle felt almost tangible, as if it could reach out and pull him in. An abyss that held the key to a mystery that threatened to unravel the very fabric of reality. Detective Miller knew that solving this puzzle was not just about finding the missing persons. It was about confronting something far more sinister, something that could change everything he thought he knew about the world. Section 5. Faces of the Vanished Dr. Evelyn Wright. Dr. Evelyn Wright, a renowned astrophysicist, watched the news reports with growing unease. The headlines were relentless, each more alarming than the last. Harmony Springs, a bustling town, had vanished overnight without a trace. Families were torn apart and the world was left in a state of shock and confusion. The disappearance of Harmony Springs had baffled the world. Streets that were once filled with life were now eerily silent. The aerial views showed a ghost town devoid of any human presence. News anchors struggled to find words to describe the surreal situation. Theories ranged from mass hallucinations to government conspiracies, but none of them held water. This was something different, Something bigger. People gathered in small groups, whispering about what could have caused such an event. Detective boards were filled with red strings and pinned photos, but no clear answers emerged. Her gaze drifted towards the telescope in the corner of her office. Its lens pointed towards the vast expanse of the cosmos. She had spent countless nights peering through it, searching for answers to the universe's greatest mysteries. Now, it seemed, the mysteries had come to her. The answer, she suspected, lay not on Earth but amongst the stars. The night sky, with its infinite expanse, held secrets that humanity had only begun to scratch the surface of. She felt a pull, an almost magnetic attraction to the stars, as if they were calling out to her. The sheer scale of the event, the clean precision of it, hinted at forces beyond human comprehension. Data streams and cosmic event illustrations filled her mind, each more perplexing than the last. It was as if the universe itself had orchestrated the disappearance with meticulous care. She had a theory, one that bordered on the impossible. It was a theory that defied conventional science, one that would be laughed at in academic circles. Yet she couldn't dismiss it. Her instincts, honed by years of studying the cosmos, told her she was onto something. A theory that spoke of cosmic anomalies, of reality shifts, of entire cities swallowed whole by forces unknown. She envisioned black holes, wormholes, and other cosmic phenomena that could bend the fabric of reality. The idea was terrifying, yet strangely exhilarating. It was a long shot, but as she looked up at the indifferent stars, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was looking at the answer. The stars, cold and distant, seemed to hold the key to the mystery. She knew her journey was just beginning, and the cosmos awaited her discovery. Sarah stumbled through the endless expanse, her body weak, her spirit broken. Days had blurred into weeks, the sun and moon her only companions. The whispers had faded, leaving her truly alone in the deafening silence. Then, one day, she heard it. A faint crackle, cutting through the oppressive stillness, a sound she hadn't realized she missed, the sound of a radio signal. Hope, fragile but tenacious, bloomed in her chest. A connection, a lifeline. She followed the signal, her pace quickening with every step. The static grew stronger, resolving itself into a voice speaking of the impossible, of a city that had vanished, of a mystery that defied explanation, a voice that mirrored her own desperate plea for answers. Detective Miller slammed his fist on the table, scattering the photographs across its surface. The frustration was palpable, a raw energy that seemed to electrify the room. Each photograph told a story, a piece of a puzzle that refused to fit together. The voice on the radio, faint and distorted as it was, had been their only lead. It crackled with static, a ghostly whisper from the past, hinting at secrets buried deep within the city's history. And yet it led to another dead end. Every clue seemed to dissolve into thin air, leaving behind nothing but questions and more dead ends. The city itself felt like a labyrinth, designed to confound and confuse. The signal originated from the center of the empty circle, a point in space that seemingly didn't exist. It was as if the city had a heart that had stopped beating, a void that defied explanation. "It's impossible," he muttered, running a hand through his thinning hair. The weight of the mystery bore down on him, a relentless pressure that gnawed at his sanity. A city doesn't just vanish. Buildings, streets, people, they don't simply disappear without a trace. And yet, here he was, standing in the midst of an enigma that defied all logic. People don't just disappear into thin air. Lives, histories, connections, they all leave marks, traces that should be visible. But in this case it was as if the very fabric of reality had been altered, and yet the evidence was right there, taunting him with its absurdity. Each photograph, each piece of evidence seemed to mock his efforts, daring him to make sense of the senseless. He picked up one of the photographs, his gaze drawn to the smiling faces frozen in time. They were ghosts of a past that seemed more real than the present, a haunting reminder of what was lost. Their eyes seemed to follow him, pleading with him to make sense of the senseless. It was as if they were reaching out from the past, begging for closure, for answers that eluded him. He owed it to them, to the vanished, to find the truth. The weight of responsibility was heavy, but it was a burden he was willing to bear. He couldn't let their stories end in silence. Even if that truth lay beyond the realm of possibility, he would venture into the unknown, challenge the impossible, and uncover the secrets that lay hidden in the shadows. Dr. Wright worked tirelessly, her mind abuzz with calculations and theories. The radio signal, while faint and intermittent, provided a crucial clue. It pulsed with a unique frequency, one that resonated with the cosmic background radiation. It was as if the city itself was dreaming, sending out a faint SOS into the void. Her theory, once dismissed as outlandish, now seemed terrifyingly plausible. Harmony Springs hadn't simply vanished, it had transitioned, shifted to a different plane of existence, a parallel reality, just beyond our perception. But what had triggered this shift? And more importantly, could it be reversed? The answers, she knew, lay hidden within the fabric of space-time itself, waiting to be unraveled. The fate of an entire city, perhaps even the fate of reality as we knew it, hung in the balance. The radio signal, once a beacon of hope, had fallen silent. Sarah was truly alone, adrift in a sea of emptiness, or was she? As she looked up at the night sky, ablaze with a million twinkling stars, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. The stars seemed to shimmer and dance, their light holding a strange intensity, as if something vast and unknowable lurked just beyond their familiar glow. Was Harmony Springs out there, trapped somewhere between the constellations, and were they looking back at her, lost and alone in their own way? The question hung in the air, unanswered and perhaps unanswerable. The vanishing of Harmony Springs remained an enigma, a chilling reminder of the fragility of reality itself, and as the universe held its breath, the only certainty was the unsettling silence that remained.